Hello and welcome to today's episode of Campus World. Today's topic is love bombing because the streets are full of manipulators. Go and watch Big Brother reunion and find out. Like people are moving mad in these streets, and it is important to discuss these things and share information. This is a mental health, lifestyle, self-development channel, and I discuss topics centered around relationships, personal growth development, and just healing. So if you're a fan of things like this, please do well to subscribe, like, follow, and leave a comment at the end of this video. Love bombing is something that you need to be aware about because it's such a well crafted and camouflaged form of manipulation that if you are not wise, you would mistake it for love, care, and attention, and that is where people enter shaggy and wahala. So that being said, I hope you're ready for this interesting yet informative episode. If you are, let's get it. Let's talk, let's talk about love bombing. Love bombing is when somebody you just met off the bat without any history, without real reason or knowledge, showers you with excessive gift, attention, and intensity of emotions and communication. It's just really intense under a very short period of time. And for the most part, I would say that Hollywood, Nollywood, and all the woods have really not helped our mindsets, especially growing up, those of us that really liked watching movies, to understand that this is a form of manipulation. Because in most of the movies we see, you just see one girl who all her life she has been, looking for love and she has been failing. And just one day she meets this guy, and oh my god, it's like we've known each other forever. And before you know, within 1 2 days, they're in love and everything, and they live happily ever after. That is love bombing, literally, but it is love bombing that has been embellished to look beautiful. And I think over the years we have been, conditioned to think that that is okay. That is not okay. Love bombing, there's no reason why somebody should just come at you so intense under a very short period of time. You need to pull the brakes on that. Because trust and believe, people who run into something will run out of it and leave you, like Kanye said, men will leave you in the desert without water. This was not even maybe men, but it's just that because of the dynamic of relationships, most times men do the chasing. So, but I'm sure that there are women that also do love bombing. So I'm not even trying to be sexist in this matter. I just use that. Like when the deed is done, once they've been able to get you, sometimes they will just turn off. Because when you start something and you don't balance it out, there's no pace, you run out of breath. That's why some runners that do marathons, they find a way to sustain their energy a bit and not burn out immediately. Because if you just start bah, 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 you will run out of air. So it's something you need to pull the brakes on. Like wait first, calm down. That being said, I'm going to share 5 signs that you have been love bombed. Because why not? Let's talk about it so that if you see it, if you experienced it before, or if you're going to experience it again, at least you know what you're looking out for. So let's go. The first sign is intense communication. And this is typically one of the first things that happens because when you just meet somebody, you guys start talking on the phone. And you see that you just met these people, there's no prior history, there's nothing. And then you guys are texting almost every time already. He calls you on the phone and you guys are speaking for hours. And you're like, oh my God, like it's almost like we've known each other for a lifetime. That's scam. Now, wait, now scam. Oh. So the intense communication, and I have experienced this personally. I hate that my life has to be the that has to be the example, but I have experienced it. I met somebody, and less than 24 hours, like he was just sending me messages and I was replying, and it was going on and on and on, and it felt cool, and the attention was nice, but then it escalated quickly. Let me just tell you, it escalated real quickly, like, and I'm like, wait. Ojorola Berry love 13 kiss, literally. If you understand Yoruba, if you don't understand Yoruba, what it means is which day did we fall in love that we're already kissing? It's a proverb for like when things are like when water don't pass Gary, when things are moving too fast, you're like, hold up. So, but don't worry. In the course of it, as I give you the 5 ways to note how to figure out if you're being love bombed, I'll keep completing the story. So yeah, over communication, because you just need calm down. I feel like anybody who is already giving a lot of themselves at first meeting, it's suspicious to me, because me, if I just meet a person, I'm not about to start divulging so much about myself. I'm not about to give so much of myself, because I value myself, and I can't just be sharing myself, my innermost thoughts and my vulnerability with just anybody, because I value me, because I know how fragile the heart is, and how if you mess with your heart will mess you up, because you will just end up with the heartbreak. So I'm not really keen to just jumping into things. So if I see somebody that's jumping into things, like, I need to begin to question you. Is it that you don't value your heart, or is it that you don't even have a heart? So me, that I'm the mumu that will go and take you seriously, I will end up in tears. So I think that that's a red flag. I think that when somebody is just overly open within a short period of time, I mean, it's cool to communicate and meet somebody and have, but it's the fact that it's intense and it's excessive. That is something to look out for. So that's the first thing, over communication. And it falls right back to the over communication. Just meet somebody and now there's just this neediness. They just want to talk to you all the time. And, if you are not available, they're like, why are you not available to talk to me? There's just this neediness that they just come with. Like they become needy for your attention and needy for your time. And if you are not giving it to them, they begin to, guilt trip you. Like, but okay. Anyway, it's fine. You know that reverse psychology of, no problem if you don't want to talk to me. It's reverse psychology. You need to, because especially for people like me who are empaths, like I don't want to hurt people's feelings. So when somebody's like, no problem, that's happened to me many times. I'll not be like, okay, fine, 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 fine. I'll talk to you. Okay, fine. I'll show up. Don't do that anymore. You've been doing it, because now looking back, there are a lot of people that use it, and there are a lot of people that use it on me, and it worked. After it worked, I was just like, oh my god, like, it's fine, no problem, no problem. If you're too busy, it's fine. And I'm like, okay, fine, fine. And then I'll squeeze in. I'll find time. I'll create time for them and stuff. That is manipulative, and there's no reason for somebody to be needy when they just met you. Like, before you met me, did you not have a life? And if you are needy, so that's something you need to work within yourself. Because while we are studying toxic people, another question you need to ask yourself is, are you toxic? We all have some toxic traits. We all have some narcissistic traits. The problem is when it becomes too much. Because you cannot tell me that, Shay, I don't like myself. Of course, I love myself. And that's the bedrock of narcissism. It's just excessiveness. You have to love. If you don't love yourself, who will love you? Love yourself, baby. The third sign is lack of boundaries. Number one, they don't respect your boundaries. When you set them, they don't respect it. And even if they don't directly cross your boundaries, they will indirectly find a way to cross your boundaries and then try to get you to sympathize with them. They don't have boundaries themselves, and so they cannot respect your own boundaries. I mean, anybody who is willing to just be so open, whether a short period of time, clearly doesn't have boundaries. And if you have boundaries and you're like, okay, um, by 10 p.m., I don't like talking about, this is an example. I'm a night person. But it's not me, but I'm just saying, for example, if you don't make phone calls after 10 p.m. and these needy people come into your life, they're like, I understand, but like, I really want to talk to you now. Like, they will try to convince you out of your boundaries. Like, they will try to convince you to bend your own boundaries. So they might do it in a manipulative way and try to get you to see reason why your boundary might not be such a great idea and why they need you. Remember the neediness point that we mentioned. Mhm. So take note, they don't have boundaries, and somebody that doesn't have boundaries will surely not respect your own. Number four is oversharing. Oversharing, see, everything ties up together, right? Oversharing, they begin to tell you about themselves, like, my mother, this, my father, um, like things that are too early, like personal information, they'll tell you. But now, what I understand now after looking back, the reason why they overshare is because they want to come off as vulnerable, so that that way you would feel inclined to be vulnerable too, and you feel safe. Like, yeah, I mean, they opened up to me, so I can open up to them. So everything is just, there's no need to overshare when you just met somebody. There's no need for me to know your deepest, darkest secrets and your pains, and there's no need for you to know mine. So stop it. This is how people get catfish, because they meet online and they just boom, and then you see a whole people have a whole full blown relationship and they've never met each other before, but just the excitement. So I know it's exciting. I know that if you try to be careful, you might live a boring life. It might seem like you're living a boring life, but trauma is not exciting. Heartbreak is not exciting, because you're going to leave yourself scarred, and you, if you don't do the proper healing, you're going to carry that pain into other relationships. So for your own sake, take note and avoid them at all costs. Last but not least, over the top gifts and attention. Same thing. You just meet them, they're already giving you expensive gifts of the bat. Clearly, they want they want something. Like me, that's just the way I've always interpreted it. The guy that's really giving you gifts, very expensive. This is not your friend, oh, no history, nothing. You're just giving me expensive. What do you want? Excuse me, sir. What do you want? Like, what do you, because I don't understand. Like, you cannot just be that generous. That's just the way I see it. But that might not necessarily be the case. However, when somebody's coming with too much intensity under a very short period of time, with no history, with no friendship, with nothing, you need to pump the brakes. Because if you get into a car where somebody's driving like a madman and they're driving you along with them, when you guys get a car crash, it's sometimes, have you not seen accidents where the driver will survive and the passenger will die just because it seems exciting? This is what they do. They have been driving recklessly for a very long time. They know how to avoid the accidents. They know that they probably are using a seatbelt and you ain't. I'm just using that as an analogy. So if somebody comes into your life, comes with intensity and all of this stuff, my dear, you need to prioritize yourself first. If it doesn't make sense, it's not true. It's Judge Judy that said it, and I believe it. If something doesn't make sense, there might be some lie there. It might be, that's not the absolute truth. Okay. So now, yeah, I said I was going to share my story. Yes, I was going to share a story of love bombing I experienced. I swear I'm embarrassed. It's so embarrassing because even me, self, I dey blame myself. I'm like, should we? At the end of the day, the way I take on life these days is that there are two parts. It's what people give you and it's what you take. I've not been in any situation recently, honestly. Even if I feel like I was treated, I was hurt, or that I was done wrong, I still always find a way to blame myself. And I know that that's another flaw that I have that I need to work on, so that I'm not always too hard on myself. But I always blame myself because in my mind I'm just like, Nami Kosan. And I don't, no matter what you do to me, well, of course, there's some. It's not everything I deserve, and I'm not saying I deserve it, but I must have, I must have given you the impression that you can try nonsense with me. I'm serious. Like, even when some people just try me, they just do some stupid things that are stupid. I'm just like, I'm not even going to address you too much. Nami Kosan. There's something I must have done wrong in our interaction that makes you so comfortable to try me. I must have messed up. So what I'll do is I take a step back and I just try to be, I just day my day.